Hi, this is Mike Madoda and you're listening to the ZiFM Sport Podcast.
Z.
It's Lionel Messi! He scored! The goal the world wanted!
It's time for the biggest sports stories.
It's Neymar trying to feed it through. It's a stretch and it's in! And I can't remember the last time I saw something like this. Extraordinary scenes!
The biggest interviews.
It's more difficult. Obviously, it's more difficult.
And all the analysis right here.
If they play poorly, they come back, they've got all the excuses. You can't have it both ways.
Every weekday, it's my sport, it's your sport. It's ZiFM Sport. Let's join the team for the biggest show in the world of sport on ZiFM Stereo. My station, your station.
The top sports show on the top station in the land. ZiFM Sport on ZiFM Stereo. My station, your station. Presenting to you the top team of pundits. Whatever sport it is, rugby, cricket, golf, tennis, or even everyone's favorite game of football. We've got Alois Munjira, Mark Pozzo, Barry Manandi. My name is Mike Madoda and the man behind the desk is Sean Tafirenyika. What a crackerjack show we got for you today on Top Hit Tuesday as we give you the top stories out of the world of sport. On the home front, we unpack the Ministry of Sport and ZIFA's decision to pull out of the hosting of the 2019 edition of the COSAFA Cup. In our international sports news, we'll look back at the big winners from last night's prestigious Laureus Awards. And in the beautiful game, we strap on for more UEFA Champions League action as the round of 16 continues with five-time winners Liverpool and Bayern Munich in action tonight.
The Warriors, the Chevrons, the Cheetahs, the Mighty Warriors, and the Sables. From the pool to the track to the field, we are Team Zimbabwe. The Home Front. Local sports news and analysis.
Just a reminder of our number if you want to send in your hashtags, ProFeeds Trivia 0731 168 045 0731 168 045. You could be the one we get to call and you'll be in with a chance straight after our play of the day where we are continuing with the music of Yvonne Chaka Chaka. Well, we start on the home front where the Zimbabwe government, as announced yesterday, has passed on the opportunity to host this year's COSAFA Cup Senior Men's Football Tournament, claiming that it had not been given enough time to prepare for the regional showpiece. COSAFA offered Zimbabwe the opportunity to host the cup set for May, and meetings between the regional football body, ZIFA, Sports and Recreation Commission, and the Sports Ministry have been ongoing since January when the country was named as host. ZIFA had confirmed their desire to host exactly 10 years after the country successfully staged the tournament, which Zimbabwe went on to win on home soil. And of course, Zimbabwe last hosted that tournament in 2009 using Rufaro Stadium in Harare as well as Barber Fields in Bulawayo, winning the trophy after beating Zambia in the final. And Zimbabwe's pullout puts this year's tournament in major doubt, although it is expected that, of course, South Africa, who have hosted the last two editions, will come in to save the situation. That is the situation. It has been discussed far and wide, even on social media. A lot of fans weighing in with their thoughts. Yesterday, we passed a few comments, but we did promise you that we were going to pick apart that decision. Why that ignominious withdrawal by the government as well as ZIFA not to stage the COSAFA Senior Men's Football Tournament 2019 in Zimbabwe. Barry, what is at the heart of this decision?
Well, if you look at it, I think at the heart of this decision is the fact that it needed a government to underwrite the tournament for it to work. And clearly government has said to themselves that we can't underwrite a tournament based on the time that's been given, and then secondly also to an association that itself cannot come forward with any sort of money, because we know that ZIFA is in huge debt and wouldn't be able to then come forward with money. So I think those two factors on the money side, the financial side, have led to this decision. Now, I also want to question where the possibility of hosting this tournament was actually emanating from. Was it ZIFA and Zimbabwe going to COSAFA and saying we want to host this tournament? Or was it COSAFA coming to Zimbabwe and saying host the tournament? That's also key.
Alois, this was not the first time, though, this year when Sue de Stombis visited Zimbabwe that we were hearing of Zimbabwe being a possible host to COSAFA. We had heard the mooting of this last year from the then ZIFA president, of course, still COSAFA president Philip Chiangwa. He had boldly declared that he wanted Zimbabwe to host COSAFA. He had said that Zimbabwe would host COSAFA. Now, Kirsty Coventry, the Minister of Sport, has come out and said that they weren't given enough notice, enough time. So, was it a case of ZIFA perhaps not having started consultations on time last year? Surely, if ZIFA had decided last year, if Philip Chiangwa had decided last year, the engagement should have started earlier.
Yeah, of course. That brings the question that Barry came up with. Like, where did this come from? You know, when a country is hosting a tournament, it has to come from the government's approval first, because that is the most important thing, government backing. Then you go to the body and say, we can host this tournament, because backing a government. You don't get the hosting rights, then you rush with the with the rights to the government. Look, Tapiwa hosting, no, we don't do that. Can we host this tournament? So that consultation was not done at all. There might be a diplomatic answer from Kirsty Coventry, the Minister of Sport, saying that we were not given enough time. But I actually think the bone of contention was Makanzi Nani.
Who gave you the permission to host it?
Yes.
And Mark, just taking a look at the situation in the country, are we in a position to host a tournament of this magnitude? It is an expanded tournament where possibly it was going to be 16 teams participating, and that would have called on for probably a lot more than just Harare and Bulawayo to host a tournament of that magnitude. Government needed to underwrite it. Are we in a position to do so financially?
Definitely not. Definitely not. I mean, we can't even control people coming into a stadium with going through the turnstiles, let alone hosting a tournament with all these teams throughout the country, whether it be transport, accommodation, the facilities, the training facilities. Man, we got no chance. Absolutely nothing.
I want to jump back onto that issue of the whole hosting element. There's conflation of various elements here, because when Philip Chiangwa announced that he wanted Zimbabwe to host the tour, he was playing a dual role, COSAFA president, ZIFA president. This year he comes back and Stu de Stombis comes into the country and says Zimbabwe's got the rights. There was something significant that happened at that announcement. At the announcement, on the top table was sitting Philip Chiangwa, Stu de Stombis, Joseph Mamutse, and Tlolisani Gwesela. The first time that we hear Felton Kamambo, the new president of ZIFA, talking about this COSAFA hosting was him pulling out in tow with Kirsty Coventry. To me, it speaks of the fact that perhaps ZIFA was not united in their decision, in inverted commas, to host this tournament.
And so it then begs the question that could this have been a pet project of COSAFA president and now former ZIFA president Philip Chiangwa, rather than the brainchild of the association? Let us know what you think, your thoughts, your views on this particular matter, and the other stories that we're going to be giving to you on today's show, as well as your predictions later on for the 2 Champions League matches that will be played tonight. Liverpool playing host to Bayern Munich at Anfield, and then Olympique Lyon hosting the might of Barcelona. Who will carry the day? We'll read your predictions during the beautiful game. Send them on 0731 168 045. That's 0731 168 045. Alternatively, you can use Twitter and Facebook at ZFM Sport. Now, guys, just as we wrap up this issue, Alois, you have to take a look at it. When you put aside the economic decisions, when you take a look at put aside the administrative decisions and the political decisions, if there are any, you then have to say ultimately it's a loss for Zimbabwean football fans, and it's also a loss for the players that would have been involved from a local perspective in these games.
Yeah, Mike, there is a lot to lose. When we look at this kind of situation, what Zimbabweans we have now come to get used to is just about the dollar, money. But we forget the other spin-offs that comes with hosting a tournament like that. Even the government, I don't think they also looked at the sports tourism that comes with the hosting this tournament as well. We have had the campaigns about sports tourism in Zimbabwe, but this is a perfect opportunity to actually market Zimbabwe to the other countries.
So rather than spend 2 million, 3 million on bringing to our shores washed up former Barcelona, Real Madrid players,
Barcelona legends. This money think hosting this tournament is actually requires less than the money that those guys were given. So for me, that's number one. That is actually a chance. Then for the soccer fans as well, it's actually an opportunity to actually watch our players doing what they do, and it's just football. As fans, we love football. Number 3, there's the national team that is going into the final qualifier against the Congo. That was actually a perfect opportunity as well. If we had qualified, if we qualify for AFCON, that's actually a very good warm-up. We don't play a lot of friendlies as well, so we don't have. And number 4, there is also the marketing aspect of it. It's not just about the government bringing in the money. There's actually partners that can be called upon to come in and put the money. At the end of the day, it might not be just the government that is putting in the money.
Okay, different facets there, of course, being discussed by the team in studio around Zimbabwe's withdrawal to host COSAFA 2019. The pros, the cons. If you have yours, use our WhatsApp platform 0731 168 045. Time to go local with our sports news roundup, and then we go international. And today we take a look at last night's Laureus Sports Awards.
Hi, my name's Ryan Cairns, Sunshine Tour professional golfer, and you're listening to ZiFM Sport.
Your local sports news run-up, and we'll start with golf. Top Zimbabwe golfer Scott Vincent pocketed $54,875 after coming 4th in the World Super 6 in Perth on Sunday. This was his biggest paycheck for 2019, having previously collected $8,720 at the Singapore Open earlier. Vincent is approaching the $1 million marker since he started participating in the Asian Tour in 2016. His earnings have been rising steadily year after year, bolstering in large to 4 top 10 finishes last year. To volleyball, and Harare City Volleyball Club has introduced education loans for players signed for the 2019 season as part of efforts to encourage sport and academics amongst athletes, as well as to attract seasoned campaigners. Recently, the Citizens announced 36 players, 18 aside, for their men and women's teams that will do duty for the club this season and beyond. The Citizens also reshuffled some of their technical members as they seek to strengthen their teams in preparation for the 2019 season and the Zone 6 African Club Championships scheduled for Malawi later in the year. To tennis, and elite tennis village coach Zenzo Ndlovu conducted a 3-day coaching clinic at Gwanda Seventh-day Adventist Primary School as part of Gwanda's tennis club's initiatives to popularize the game amongst learners. Dozens of children participated in the tournament, which Gwanda Tennis Club coach Musanshishi Matema said was well attended by children and their parents from the community.
Can I meet the Queen in London? Is it true that Paris has the best food in the world? Where's the best selfie spot for the Eiffel Tower? What is tapas exactly? What does tapas taste like? Where do I eat it in Barcelona? Is everyone blonde in Stockholm? Can I talk with hand gestures in Italy? And in Athens, is Greek yogurt only called yogurt?
The best way to find answers to all your questions is to go there. Fly Emirates to 42 destinations across Europe. Visit emirates.com. Fly Emirates. Fly better.
Here we go again.
Enjoy world-class radio online. ZiFM Stereo is available on TuneIn. Search for ZiFM Stereo and you got it.
From the front of the grid to the back of the net, it's ZiFM Sport. International Sports News Roundup, where the world comes out to play.
Now, gymnast Simone Biles and tennis player Novak Djokovic won the top prizes at the 2019 Laureus World Sports Awards. The American Biles, who was named Sportswoman of the Year after winning 4 gold medals, 1 silver and 1 bronze at the 2018 World Championships. Serb Djokovic won the Sportsman of the Year award after claiming victory at both the US Open and Wimbledon. It's here from world number 1 Novak Djokovic, who attended the award ceremony last night.
I had to do a lot of inner engineering, as I like to call it, especially in the last 15 months, coming back from a major injury and having a surgery. and being very impatient and being anxious to come back, and then being on the verge to leave the racket aside. And now I'm standing here in front of you and reflecting on their journey. It seems like a fairy tale story, but it tells me one thing, and that's that in those moments of when you're facing adversity and when you're challenged, you should always look inside, because that's where the answer lies. I did not understand that fully. I heard that before, but I think when I went through this journey, I understood really what that means, and now I know where I can always find strength and belief and motivation to get me going. Thank you very much for this wonderful evening. Thank you very much, Laureus. I appreciate it.
Mike, you got to say that Simone Biles, Novak Djokovic, yes, richly deserved for the two, but you got to say the thing, that golden thread that links them both is the fact that these two athletes work hard at their craft and deserve this.
Absolutely, and I think you'll find that the top athletes in the world, the top sports stars, really put in a shift of work. You know, you get the guys that are supremely talented and then don't need to work as hard as everyone else, but the majority of those guys, the ones that want to have long, successful careers, they put in the hours on the training field to perfect the skill, to perfect the talent that they have been given. Talent itself alone is not enough. You have to constantly push yourself to make sure that you're always there. I mean, if talent was enough to carry you, Lionel Messi wouldn't go for practice. He'll just meet up with the team on a Sunday. Cristiano Ronaldo would do the same.
Take it from here.
LeBron James would be like, hey, guys, where are we playing tomorrow night? And then they'll rock up. But those guys, they are shooting hoops. They are taking free kicks. They are listening to coaches. They are going into the gym. They are eating right. They are sleeping right. They are doing so many things right to make sure, of course, that they are the top athletes in the world. And Simone Biles, as well as Novak Djokovic, they reflect that very well.
And pause. It's interesting that Novak Djokovic then speaks not only about the talent and what Mike is talking about, their ability and their hard work, but he's talking about the inner man as well. He was talking about the fact that he was fighting some demons that he had to get over, and when he got over them, then he achieved his best.
Yeah, I mean, you actually look back and you look at Novak Djokovic's last 18 months or so. He struggled with a lot of things, and there was all these questions about coming out. He's got marriage problems, he's got coach problems, but you know what? I admire this guy a hell of a lot, that he's actually sorted himself out in himself without making a huge fuss, and he's come out, and I still believe that he will go on and break the record for the amount of Grand Slams in men's tennis.
100%. And other winners last night in Monaco were golfer Tiger Woods, who won the Comeback Award, while tennis player Naomi Osaka won Breakthrough of the Year. America's 14-time major winner Woods won the second season-ending tour championship by 2 shots to record his first win in 5 years following spinal fusion surgery. And Japan's Osaka won her first Grand Slam title at the US Open last year, then won the Australian Open last month. She's had a phenomenal year. Elsewhere, Slovakian skier Henrietta Fakasova and guide Natalia down Michael Natalia Subratova won the Sportsperson of the Year with a Disability Award after winning 4 gold medals at the 2018 Winter Paralympics. Football Club World Cup winners, France, they won Team of the Year, and then Kenyan athlete richly deserved Eliud Kipchoge took the Exceptional Achievement Award after taking 78 seconds off the world marathon record with his victory in Berlin. I love Eliud Kipchoge. He's such a nice guy, but his career went for a bit of a wobble in the middle there, but he's picked it up late on, and he's run with that mantle, hasn't he?
Absolutely. I mean, to shave 78 seconds off the world marathon record, you know, that is just phenomenal.
That's flying.
That is
flying.
Absolutely incredible. I mean, just shaving a second or two is enough in itself, a feat. But to shave 78 seconds, absolutely incredible.
In road running, that is phenomenal.
Exactly, and that comes from an expert, Mark Pozzo. Well, American snowboarder Chloe Kim was given the Action Sportsperson of the Year award, and courtesy of a lot of lobbying from our producer, Sean Tafirenyika, former Arsenal manager manager Arsene Wenger received the Lifetime Achievement Award. Well done, Sean.
Richly deserved.
Richly deserved. And American skier Lindsey Vonn won the Spirit of Sport Award.
Hi, this is Benjamin Locke. I'm on the Zimbabwe Davis Cup team, and you're listening to ZiFM Sport.
Around the world in 60 seconds. International sports news.
Takeoff is in Barcelona. Sebastian Vettel is expecting new teammate Charles Leclerc to be a full rival to him at Ferrari in Formula 1 2019. After spending his first 4 years at Maranello alongside Kimi Raikkonen, Vettel is paired with one of the sport's young rising stars, and the expectations are high that the intra-team battle for supremacy will prove one of the season's big talking points. Vettel, who has been Ferrari's sole title challenger to Mercedes Lewis Hamilton over the past 2 seasons, is tipping Leclerc to put him under pressure. Over to Monaco, where Novak Djokovic says he contemplated leaving tennis as he struggled to find the purpose during his initial struggle to rediscover his best form on his return from injury last year. The world number one since his return has won 3 successive Grand Slam titles, with his record 7th Australian Open moving him ahead of Pete Sampras into 3rd on the men's all-time list of Grand Slam titles with 15. We touch down in London, where John Mitchell is looking forward to renewing his rivalry with former housemate Warren Gatland when England travelled to Cardiff to face Wales on Saturday. The England defence coach played with Gatland for New Zealand provincial heavyweights Waikato 124 times, including the famous 1993 rout of a midweek British and Irish Lions side that was led by Will Carling. Gatland is coaching in his 10th and final Six Nations and will leave as one of the championship's great coaches following a reign that has delivered 2 Grand Slams.
The Daily Sports Trivia question is brought to you by Profeeds. Profeeds, your feed and farm professionals.
Have you been sending in your hashtags, Profeeds Trivia? Well, if you haven't, it may be too late, but don't despair. We've still got tomorrow's show for you to, of course, give yourself a chance of winning that Capri Double Door 290-litre fridge, which is our first prize of the year 2019. The draw to win that prize will be on Friday, so just 2 days to go, the 22nd of February. So one lucky listener today gets to get a stab at that fantastic opportunity.
Right, let's go to our lines, 0731 168 045, and we've got Tendai on the line in Harare. Tendai, good evening and welcome to ZiFM Stereo.
Hi Mike, how are you doing?
I'm good, thanks. Right, welcome to the Profeeds Trivia for tonight. First of all, Tendai, tell us what football team you support.
I support Manchester United.
Oh, okay. You won't be getting any help from me as a quizmaster today.
Must be easy nowadays.
And who's your local team?
It must be easy with Alois.
Yeah. Who's your local team, Tendai?
Dynamos.
You and Barry Menandi.
Good
right, let's get down to the business at hand. Question number 1, Tendai. Are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
In what year did Zimbabwe last host the COSAFA Cup men's tournament?
2009.
Correct. Well done, Tendai. Very confident answer. Question number 2. Which Formula 1 team is nicknamed the Scuderia? Same.
Must be Ferrari.
Yeah. Tendai, you're on point, man, and you will go into the draw for that Capri Double Door 290-litre fridge on Friday. Thanks for tuning in, and make sure you listen in on Friday to see if it's your name that comes out of the hat.
Okay, thank you, Mike.
Well, you take a tap in these circumstances.
The Daily Sports Trivia question was brought to you by Profeeds. Profeeds, the performance feed. Fan Zone. Get in touch with the team and have your say your way.
Operator.
The number is 0731 168 045. Remember, you can still comment on all the sports stories that are taking place. If you want to participate in the Profeeds Trivia, you can still send through the hashtag as the start of your message and then give us your comment on whatever you want to talk about. Just make sure you start with that hashtag. This one is from Zawanda in Bulawayo. He says, I think Philip did not have all those points you are sharing in mind to him. I think he wanted to fix Felix Felton, by imposing something announcing that he knew they were not in a good state to host the tournament, thereby tarnishing Felton, you're calling him Felix's administration, their image. When the right time comes, we shall host our government pabora haina basa nazo. So Felton hapana chaitao. So thanks for getting in touch, Zawanda. You reckon that this was just a Philip project. Stan in Buhera, he reckons you'll never walk alone. He says, I'm an avid Liverpool fan. Well, hopefully Liverpool will do the business for you tonight. Magweta in Glenview, he says, predictions, guys. Listen to this. Liverpool 1, Bayern Munich 1.
Okay.
Leon 1.
Whatever.
Barca 1. He reckons 1-1 draws.
1-1 draws. 1-1 is not an entirely bad result.
Yeah, not
because as a Liverpool fan, you always get the feeling the Liverpool score. We'll go to Germany and we'll score. That's what I believe. I don't think you can shut this Liverpool team out to a goalless match. They will score.
100%. Baba Kabre J in Borrowdale says this: our facilities are not in good shape. Why can't we invest in sport? We spend money on other things. Our national team is the major loser in this decision.
Shouldn't we be switching the conversation also to our councils who own these properties, who own the different stadia around the country? Rufaro Stadium, Sakuva Stadium, Ascot Stadium, Barberfield Stadium. Those are all council-owned stadium, council-owned properties. And it will surprise a lot of people as well to find out that even stadiums globally, like Anfield, like Old Trafford, are also council-owned stadiums, and that those clubs have them on long-term leases, but they're able to develop them because they've been given those leases. Now, our councils have been reluctant to give clubs and teams long-term leases, so then it falls upon them to upgrade those facilities and to improve those facilities to make sure that they're up to scratch. But we haven't seen any of that, Alois.
Yeah, we haven't. You know, when we have seen them trying to renovate, it will be just like touch and go. And that's it. Look at Rufaro Stadium. Rufaro Stadium, if it wasn't for the all-Africa
those bucket seats, Alois, but
the money went in there. Money went in there. Anyway, that's a story for another day. I'm talking about a situation whereby if it wasn't for the All-Africa Games in 1995,
yes,
how would Rufaro Stadium be looking at? That was the last time this stadium was developed.
Yeah, major development.
1964.
Barberfield's the same thing.
Same thing. So they are not looking after this stadium. Guanzura, we can't even talk about Guanzura right now. It's a dead stadium.
You talk about the stadiums. Actually, today I was driving with a colleague in the car, and we were driving past Rufaro Stadium, and there was a particular advert on one of the walls there, and he said, I remember having that painted on that wall 25 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah. A particular advert for a battery was there.
And it's still there.
And it was still there.
Yeah. Is it the X-side one?
No. It's the ever-ready one.
It's the ever-ready one.
Another one here from DJ Bongs in Eastleigh. He says, what I don't get is how can you turn down such a great opportunity for a tournament? We need to be serious with our sport for sure. So the fans are very disappointed that this tournament isn't coming to these shores, and they wish that we could have had it certainly in Zimbabwe. This one says, this last Marange in Glenora, he has this to say, guys, I won't take much of your time. Liverpool 2, Bayern 2. He reckons Leon 1, Barca 3.
Yeah, but Leon is a plucky team, eh?
It is, yeah.
I think we saw how they performed against Manchester City. Very direct and can hurt you because they're not just direct, they've also got quality manipulators of the football in midfield and attack. So if Barcelona are not at their best, Leon is capable of actually getting a good result tonight.
Tunde has this to say. Harare City Council is actually planning on building a new stadium when the ones we have are completely dilapidated. So he reckons, why not fix the ones you got before you think of building a new one?
Yes, there are rumours of a stadium, I think, on High Glen, along High Glen, out in Highfields. And I don't know, to be honest, whether that is it's a good development if it happens, but I would love to see it happen in tandem with Gwanzura getting a facelift and being put up to scratch. Rufaro Stadium as well being developed so that we just don't have this swank stadium, and then we see other stadiums, of course, being ruined and totally neglected, like we've seen with Chibuku Stadium in Chitungu. It's gone.
You're killing me inside.
Yeah, and that's where your formative years were.
Yeah, that's where I grew up, and I was in tears when I drove past Chibuku Stadium. Even the main gate is down. There's not even a main gate. The Jura wall is broken. You know, my heart was bleeding.
And listen, Walter Magaya, for all his shortcomings, let's forgive him for wading into medicine and things like that. But he came up with a proposal for that stadium.
And he was turned down.
To rehabilitate the stadium, and he was turned down. And they missed out on the opportunity to have the stadium given a facelift. And secondly, they missed out on the opportunity for Chitungwiza having a Premier League team based in the community.
Yes, and that means money for the council as well, because they'll be taking a percentage from the Premier League team.
And for the locals as well. Like you said, the guys who live off these matches that come and sell their wares. There's so many support businesses, transport as well. Whenever teams like Dynamos, imagine Dynamos going to play in Chitungwiza, Highlanders visiting, Caps United, even Vema ET, you know what, Takameka. They can't wait for afternoons like that.
You wonder if they think deep like that. You actually wonder.
Well, we could carry on, of course, with the fan zone, but that will be at the expense of the beautiful game where we've got, of course, last night's action in the FA Cup to look forward to, or should I say, to pick apart, since there was a result. Not entirely surprising. The Blues, Chelsea, they're still singing them. And then we build up to tonight's action in the UEFA Champions League.
The big leagues, the big teams, the big players. The beautiful game on ZiFM Sport. All the rivalry.
The captain likes the touch paper. It is blue touch paper. Always him on Derby Day.
All the stars.
Absolutely brilliant again from Mo Salah. The twinkling feet, the ice-cold finish, the Egyptian on fire.
And all the game-changing moments.
Aguero!
All the updates from the Premier League on ZiFM Sport.
This is the league we want to watch.
Right, Manchester United midfielder Juan Mata believes the FA Cup fifth round win over Chelsea was the perfect reaction to their first loss under caretaker manager Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. United won 2-0 at Stamford Bridge last night, 6 days after losing 2-0 to Paris Saint-Germain in the first leg of their last 16 tie in the Champions League. The club's first defeat since Solskjaer replaced Jose Mourinho at Old Trafford. Let's hear from Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, who praised United for their brilliant reaction.
Massive, of course. It's you want to see a reaction, and the players, they've been brilliant in training, and we were quite confident before we went into this game that we found the right team selection and the right, how do you call it, temperament, because there's a balance between being too eager after you've having lost the game. So today was brilliant.
Okay, let's hear from Maurizio Sarri, who says he's not worried about fan unrest or his job, despite the confusing football he saw from his Chelsea players in the defeat.
I think that for the result, we were unlucky, because in the first half we played better than the opponent, and at the end of the first half the result was 2-0. Then in the second half it was really very difficult to play for the result, because they are really a very physical team. They defended very low, compact, and so of course I can understand the situation. I can understand our fans, because the result wasn't really good. We are out of the FA Cup, and so I can understand very well our fans, but I am worried at the moment about our results.
So first half goals from Anders Herrera and Paul Pogba were enough for United to secure that quarter-final tie with Wolves, and Chelsea had no response after the break as supporters chanted their displeasure at Sarri's football. Mike, I think I totally agree where we said that the confusing football. I believe they are playing confusing football, Chelsea. They've lost support of their supporters, and I think there's a revolt in the players' dressing room.
Yeah, but I'm not going to have any much sympathy with the players, because I place the blame squarely at the doorstep of the players. I see players who are not fighting for the shirt. I see players who are very weak mentally, because if you go back to last night's match, Chelsea started the better side. They were stroking the ball around. They were passing it short, long. They were creating opportunities. All it took was for Manchester United to get behind them once and then take the lead. Through that under Herrera goal, for Chelsea to completely lose the plot and completely lose the way. And for me, that's simply the players. They don't have it together between the ears, and that's why Chelsea finds themselves in the place where they are. They got a Hazard who for 2 years has never wanted to be in London and has been looking elsewhere, possibly to Madrid as the team that he wants to be. They got players who are now, I feel like Azpilicueta is no longer the player that he was a couple of seasons ago. You take a look at the Brazilian at centre half, David Luiz. He looks like he doesn't want to be there. He looks very disinterested in what's going on. And then you've got the left fullback, Marcos Alonso, who
is
just poor, making very childish errors, schoolboy errors. And you can't blame the coach for that, because the coach is setting the team right. Because if you take a look at how this team started the season, that 20-match unbeaten run or whatever it was, when Chelsea was looking like a side that was going to challenge for the Man City. In fact, Chelsea was actually being tipped as second favourites behind City to go on and win the title, with Liverpool third. But look at what has happened now since they tasted defeat. For me, it's a mental thing.
Yeah, it's not about ability. Ability plenty, because they are a team that can actually win the league championship, but they are not paying attention. They are not concentrated. They are not working for the team. Like you rightfully said, when you looked at them playing yesterday, the first 15-20 minutes, you would think world class. They were knocking the ball around, and some of the Manchester United fans were sitting and like, okay, here we go again. Now it's going to be very difficult at Stamford Bridge, but they just collapsed. So for me, I think mental strength and the lack of ambition. The lack of ambition and probably a revolt, like Mark said.
Right, let's have a quick look at the FA Cup quarter-final draw. It looks like this: Swansea City will face Manchester City, Watford up against Crystal Palace, Wolves are at home to Manchester United. That could be an interesting tie, and Millwall will take on Brighton.
Horsepower unmatched. Torque to beat the best. Speed unrivaled. Sleek and easy on the eye. Let's get behind the wheel of football engineered to perfection. The Bundesliga, made in Germany.
In the Bundesliga, Lucien Favre is not worried about Borussia Dortmund's 5-match winless streak following Bundesliga leaders' goalless draw at lowly Nuremberg. Dortmund saw their lead atop the Bundesliga summit reduced to just 3 points ahead of defending champions Bayern Munich after Monday's stalemate against bottom side Nuremberg. Favre's Dortmund have not won a match in all competitions since January the 26th following Bundesliga draws against Eintracht Frankfurt and Hoffenheim, while they lost to Tottenham in the Champions League and on penalties against Werder Bremen in the DFB Pokal, meaning the league looks like this: Borussia Dortmund out in front, 51 points, 3 points behind them Bayern Munich on 48 points. Borussia Mönchengladbach is in third on 43 points, and then our Red Bull Leipzig is on 41 points. That's the top four in Germany.
Zimbabwe's finest breed. ZiFM Stereo.
Yes, the Premier Club Cup competition in world football, and it has hit the round of 16. And tonight we have 2 matches and a further 2 tomorrow evening. Tonight's action will see Lyon, a French club, taking on the Spanish champions Barcelona. Liverpool, the English heavyweights and of course most successful club in this competition, take on Germany's biggest and most successful club as well. Both teams have won it 5 times apiece. And then tomorrow night's action will see Atletico Madrid taking on Juventus. Schalke of Fear, the Germans, will host Manchester City. It's to Anfield where we go, and Liverpool manager Jurgen Klopp says he does not view Liverpool's Champions League last 16 tie versus Bayern Munich as personal. The German will renew hostilities with the Bundesliga champions, a side who he has vast experience against from his tenure in charge of Borussia Dortmund from 2008 to 2015. Klopp led Dortmund to the league title twice and finished as runners-up on 2 occasions behind the Bavarians, who also came out on top in the 2013 Champions League final at Wembley. Let's hear from Jurgen Klopp.
When Munich has a difficult situation and it's moaning on a really high level. So that's how it is, because after being 6 years the dominator of the league, and that was clear that this year will be a more difficult year, but meanwhile they are chasing the league, so they have it back. So all the situation in Munich, from my point of view, makes them even more dangerous. And but we have our own targets, we have our own aims. We want to be strong, we want to show, because in Germany a lot of people were talking now about the atmosphere at Anfield, they were talking about that we are maybe the most emotional club in world football. So emotion, in my opinion, is a very positive thing. So let's show that. Let's make it a very emotional place. Let's make it a very lively place on the pitch, on the stands, and and let's enjoy that game together. It's a tough one against a really strong and very experienced team, but we are strong as well, and that's what we have to show.
A lot of respect from Liverpool manager Jurgen Klopp for Bayern Munich, a team he knows so well, and that respect reciprocated by Bayern Munich boss Niko Kovac, who believes Liverpool is the toughest Champions League draw his team could have faced, but is confident of securing a positive result at Anfield.
Yes, it's the first game for me to play in Anfield, and I'm looking forward to play there. And we heard a lot about the fans, about the atmosphere in the stadium, and so I think it will be 2 great games. For us it's very important to play Champions League. It's a knockout game, and so it will be 2 finals, and we're happy to play in the stadium. They have very good fast breaks. The counter-attacks are very aggressive and fast, but we know that, and we saw teams how they play against these, and we have to stay compact. We have to have a good line in our back, and then we will have a good protection in our defense.
Difficult to see anything less than goals in this match, Alois?
For me, I'm looking at a situation whereby Liverpool are going to score, yes, but Bayern Munich are going to score a lot of goals, and not less than 3 goals for Bayern Munich.
Tonight.
Come on, don't be a hater.
Well, okay. Liverpool is going to score. But Bayern Munich is going to score a lot of goals. That is Alois' prediction. Okay, that's fine. So at least there will be goals. We agreed on that. Pass.
I'll go Liverpool 3-1.
Liverpool 3-1.
Yeah.
Barry.
Are we doing predictions already? Okay, so I'm going to go with Liverpool 3-1, and they're going to score merely because Virgil van Dijk is not there. 3-1 to Liverpool.
Alois, I need to ask you this. What really, just taking a look at the form of the 2 teams, what makes you think that Bayern will register a convincing victory at Anfield?
I know when they get into gear, they rotate the ball very well. I know that Liverpool, they depend on that counter-attacking football, and Bayern Munich are they're a very organized side. and they've got my favorite striker in the world.
But this season, they haven't shown that organization because they've been very vulnerable, especially in the Bundesliga, to those counter-attacks which you're talking about, because they haven't had necessarily their best defense.
Yeah, when they click, that's what I said.
Boateng is not playing today. I think
Alaba he was actually liability that one. I'm actually worried. If he had played, I was actually going to be worried. He has now been slow, and with the Liverpool strikers so fast, I think it's a blessing in disguise for Bayern Munich.
So you still stick with a convincing victory for Bayern Munich tonight?
Yes.
So this could get messy. I mean, over 2 legs, Bayern Munich could score 6 or 7. If they can score 3 at Anfield tonight, I mean,
it's very possible.
In Munich, it could be a massacre.
It's very possible.
Okay.
No, it can be another 3-1 as well, or maybe 2-1. It doesn't necessarily mean if you win 3-1 there at home, we must double the score. No, it doesn't work that way. I just feel that they will have a comfortable win against Liverpool.
Okay, comfortable win, and that is Alois's prediction. Well, we don't have too long to wait. Kickoff is a little over 3 hours away. The match is at Anfield. It's Liverpool taking on Bayern Munich, and of course, there's the small matter of Barcelona's visit to France, Barry.
There is indeed, and Barcelona are under no illusions of the threat posed by Lyon ahead of their Champions League last 16 tie. Those are the words of Sergio Busquets, and no doubt Barcelona will be fully ready for this match, and knowing that they've got to do the business. But like you said earlier during the fan zone, Mike, Lyon is no pushovers. They're a tricky side, and Barcelona will need to be at the races for this one.
Yeah, absolutely. They'll need to be at the races, and I think Barcelona need Lionel Messi to be at his best. Because when Lionel Messi is at his best, he tends to dictate the tempo of the match, and he also creates a lot of chances. That combination between Lionel Messi as well as Alba on the left side of attack for Barcelona is fantastic. And then they've got the trump card of Dembele as well, because Messi is able to suck defenders and attention to himself, and then when he releases Dembele, Barcelona can do damage.
Yeah, Dembele getting behind defenses. That one should be a tasty encounter as well. So good football on tonight. Enjoy it. We'll catch you tomorrow. May God richly bless you. Tomorrow, don't miss tomorrow's show. We've got Pia Sundhage. This is the women's equivalent of Pep Guardiola being on the show. We got an interview with her, so don't miss that one. There's a special. May God richly bless you. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Manandi, out.
Be sure to catch ZiFM Sport every weekday on ZiFM Stereo. My station, your station.